First off, Adrian, thank you for this interview. My definition of Gorenoise is basically, it is just Goregrind combined with noisecore. That's basically all it is. Basically, blasting almost all the time drums, down-tuned, super distorted bass, guitar, both, and just the most sickening vocals. I didn't really discover it because I didn't know of anyone else doing it at the time. So what I basically did when I started was I combined my two favorite genres, which were noisecore and Goregrind, and that became Anal Birth. No, Anal Birth definitely wasn't my first project. My first project that I actually did a release of was called Embalmed Alive. I started that in 1994. It was basically grinding death metal played with no musical ability. And after that, I had a project called Regurgitated Corpse that was Mortician meets Anal Cunt meets God Sodomy type noise grind. And Anal Birth actually started as a side project to Regurgitated Corpse because Regurgitated Corpse was my serious project. But it had a certain vocal style that I couldn't do anymore, so I quit that project and made Anal Birth my main focus. That's pretty much how it came about. Anal Birth was just a side project. And I took it serious, but it wasn't too serious. But it became serious once it became my main project. The three main bands who were influential in Anal Birth's creation were Dead Infection, Anal Cunt, and Last Days of Humanity. Other than that, there were plenty other bands that also influenced Anal Birth's creation, including God Sodomy, Dismembered Fetus, Fear of God Switzerland, Tumor from Germany, Gonculator, Gore Beyond Necropsy, Stench of Corpse, Festering Puke, Splatteria, Early Meat Shits, and just a whole bunch of other bands. It would take forever for me to list them all. But those are some of the main bands that influenced Anal Birth's creation. Even though I consider this a straight up noisecore release for the longest time, I realized that the first demo by Pathologist, Sexual Cadaveric Mesothelioma, is, as far as I know, the very first Gorenoise recording that was made. I mean, there could be other ones, but I don't know of them. And after that was Regurgitate's first demo from 1991. And I could be wrong, but my Anal Birth demo, Infant Butchering, the first demo, is the third Gorenoise release ever made. So as far as I know, those would be the first three. Could be wrong, but that's as far as I know of it now, and that's as far as I know how it came to be. Grotesque Deformities is a project I started right after the end of Anal Birth in 2001. I had plans to make Anal Birth a more Goregrind band, more Goregrind type project, but I decided not to. So that's how Grotesque Deformities came out. Just picture if Anal Birth sounded more Goregrind, and that's what Grotesque Deformities sounded like. It wasn't active for that long because my drinking had gotten really bad. I recorded the first demo with a lot of alcohol and drugs in my system, and pretty much the same for all the other releases I made. I think it only stayed active till 2003 at the latest. I made 2 demos and some splits, and then disappeared for a while as my drinking got even worse. And I didn't do another project again until about 2008, I believe. Which brings us to Liquefied Insides. I started Liquefied Insides in 2008, and that project is still active now. It is Gorenoise, but different from Anal Birth. There's little semi-musical parts. Worm Clogged Blisters, I started in 2012. That's my harsh Gorenoise project. It's basically harsh noise with Gore vocals. And it's not active right now, but might be in the future. I'm not sure yet. Regurgitated Corpse was a project I had before Anal Birth, and like I said in a previous question, Anal Birth was the side project of Regurgitated Corpse, and Regurgitated Corpse was Mortician meets Anal Cunt meets God Sodomy Noise Grind, and hasn't been active for a while. I originally stopped it in 1998 and brought it back for a 7-inch in, I believe, 2016, and I haven't recorded anything since. Joy of Torture is a gut and morgue fetus style project that me and Embryo from Gruesome Toilet had. As of right now, it's not active, but me and him are going to start on some other projects, hopefully in the future. Cavernous Sores was a Goregrind noise band that I had with a good friend of mine named Brian Gibbons, who unfortunately passed away in 2013. And Cavernous Sores hasn't been active also since 2013. I did have a hardcore band called Worse Than Ever that we started in 2011. It had me on vocals, my friend Brian Gibbons on guitar, my cousin Eddie on bass, and my brother Aaron on drums. We only recorded a demo and a split with another band of mine called Mountain of Filth. It was short-lived because my friend Brian, who had started the band with me, passed away in 2013. We had started the band in 2011. And when he died in 2013, so did the band. For the longest time, I've recorded on a 4-track cassette recorder to get my sound, and I still do to this day. Lately, I've also used BandLab, and that's good for lack of time and for convenience and everything, but I still love recording on tape the best. The first time I ever played live in my life was with a project I was doing with my friend Matt called Putrefied Stomach Contents. And then, I don't remember the exact year, but I believe it was 2013 that I played one Cavernous Sores show without Brian on drums. I had to get my friend Will to fill in on drums. And I also did shows with a band I had going with my friend Will also called Carnal Trash. We played quite a few shows. And then I didn't play any shows for a while. And in 2022, I got offered for Engelbert to play a fest called Barely Breathing in Bethpage, New York, which I did play. It was supposed to be a one-time show only, but I ended up getting offers to do other shows, so I ended up playing places like Nashville, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and a bunch of other places. The Barely Breathing Fest is the show I play regularly. It's once a year, and I always usually do a different project for that festival since it started in 2022. So I've played live Engelbert, Liquefied Insides, and at part 3, I played with 2 projects. We did a surprise Engelbert set because a couple bands had canceled, but I was only supposed to play with my Goregrind band, Low Budget Splatter Gore. So the live shows have been pretty good lately. Oh yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of horror, gore, mondo, and shockumentary. I'd say my favorite horror and gore movies are definitely Cannibal Holocaust, Man Behind the Sun, Brain Dead, A Fucking Cruel Nightmare, Burning Moon, Black Past, Violent Shit series, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Zombie 2, whatever you want to call it, City of the Living Dead. There's a whole bunch. I'm gonna definitely forget a lot of them. But those are some of the main ones I'm into. I'm also into Mondo and Shockumentaries, like Faces of Death, of course. Traces of Death I do like. I also like Killing of America, Africa Blood and Guts, the Faces of Gore series. And just so many more. Yeah, they're definitely a big influence when I create my noise and everything. A lot of themes help me come up with my titles most of the time. Or I'm just thinking of something that's even more crazy and shocking than what I was just watching. I actually did have 3 tape labels going at one point. I had Stench of Carnage tapes that was mainly focused on noisecore and grind releases. I had Torn Apart tapes, which was more about death metal, and Maggot Ridden Turd Birth tapes, which dealt with shitcore and just a lot of different weird type of stuff. I stopped doing all these labels because I really wasn't good at running a label at the time. I was very unorganized, and I really was unprepared for how much was going to have to go into that. So unfortunately, a lot of people didn't get their releases on time. They didn't get their orders on time. Some didn't get it all. And I'm still trying to fix that mistake I made. I do want to do a label in the future, hopefully, but I will definitely run things differently this time. Yeah, I still love tape, and I still love recording on tape. As far as I'm concerned, especially with raw type of sounds, you just can't beat tape. And I definitely still record on it today. I do also record on stuff like BandLab. That's mainly for convenience and lack of time and all that. And as far as the streaming and digital goes, I'm not completely against it. It's just I'm definitely more of an analog person and always will be. Well, as I'm sure people know, Anal Birth is back together, kind of. We were supposed to play a one and only show in 2022 for the first Barely Breathing Fest, but obviously that turned into a lot more shows and even some more recordings again. So we still have some upcoming shows. We just played one in New Jersey that was actually almost all Gorenoise bands and projects at the Meat Locker. It was called the New Jersey Gore Fest. It's just amazing after all these years to have an actual Gorenoise show to play. It's crazy to me. There will be some splits coming out. Last year we did a second full length called 28 chapters, top 28 chapters of Infinite Atrocities. And we think it came out really good. Mainly I've been also doing Anal Birth with a really good friend of mine named Will, who was in the bands Afterbirth, Buckshot Facelift, and a lot more, under the name Brainless Bill. And other than that, I have been collaborating on a D-beat gore type band called Low Budget Splatter Gore with Travis Bickle from Morgue Tar and Bestial Putrefaction. I've also started 2 one-man projects. One that's straight up gore noise called Rotten Stomach. It's basically almost like anal birth, but just recorded a lot differently. I also have a Goregrind project called Stab Repeatedly. There are a couple recordings out and a couple more planned. It's Goregrind, but the way it's recorded, it almost sounds a little cyber, a little bit. And that's pretty much it mostly. Oh, also, I have a noisecore project with Alex of Cedric's Lettuce called Fuckface McGillicuddy. And if there's anything else I'm forgetting, it's just because I'm doing this off the top of my head. I have nothing to read off of, and my brain don't work too good lately. First off, I definitely want to say thank you, Adrian, for the interview. I really appreciate this. Also want to thank all the noise maniacs who have been blasting my bullshit all these years. It is great to see you playing shows and doing trades with you and all that good stuff. And I also want to apologize if my answers seem a little out of whack. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I'm sure I mumbled and stuttered through this whole thing and forgot a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sorry about that, but hope you get something out of this. And just once again, I really appreciate all the support from everybody that's ever been into my stuff, and also thanks to the bands that I was inspired by, because without you, this would never have happened. And just stay noisy and filthy and stay out of them showers.